Good Tuesday evening, and welcome back to Precise Algorithm Trading. It is June 6, 2023, and let's get a look at the markets. Not a really anything major. Well, let's look at everything here. The S&P went up by 10 points, or 0.24%. The Dow went up by 10 points, or 0.03%. The Nasdaq went up by 46 points, almost 47, and that's 0.36%. And the Russell, I don't know what it did, but because it zeroes it out, let's look at the futures here. The Russell, I think, actually took off. Yeah, that's like a reversal. Yes, 2 days ago it was almost 2%. We got down by quite a bit yesterday, and this looks like it's over 1% today. So the Russell is the story of the day, and I'm glad I was in some of it off of this pullback yesterday. I wish I would have got a little bit deeper pullback so I could have bought more, but now it's taken off and I've only got a half a position. But that is what it is. So uh, in the meantime, let's look at the Dow because it's worth it. The Dow is actually on a buy position. Well, we could have called it the other day, except it was too far up and I was waiting for a pullback. So I actually got that plus an extra day, which is what I was kind of hoping for in the Russell. And now we've got a buy signal for the day, and I got in. I think that was with a full size position. So um, our indicators are all showing some signs here. By the way, I've added some arrows to my EMA indicator. It's in the middle here, and I've actually taken some arrows away from the TrueMomo indicator because I only want the bullish signals and not the, or I should say, I only want the signals that are bullish when the thing is bullish and bearish when the thing is bearish. I've got all the signals going on the EMA indicator, and I'm still working on the RMO oscillator just because it's got a lot more signals and I don't need all that noise. But I'm looking for the best ones to put together for the best scenarios, and I'm doing stats on that for what it's worth. I'll share those either on the weekend or next time I get a chance to do a longer one of these. Um, so yeah, the stats are really for me everything because I base it off of, well, I just put all the math together and then run it through scenarios of a year, 10 years, 20 years, things like that, and see does the thing hold up over time, because that's really what trading is all about. Um, how's it hold up over time for the longer term trades, and then how's it work on a short term basis for things like options. So that's quite a it's a lot. That's really what trading is, though. So that's the Russell, and then the Nasdaq on the futures looks like this, which is still way up in the nosebleed section. Looks like it wants to turn, and something I need to get better at personally is taking positions off the table when they're ready to turn. So I'll show you like one I had here. So here's Expedia that I was in. It's off of all these indicators and signals, and we've had 3 days in a row of really nice big moves. For what it's worth, these that dotted line, white line right there on the right hand side is I think that's a 2 standard deviation move, because the yellow line is 1, the light blue line is 1.5, and the dash line is 2. So it's exceeded a 2 standard deviation move, which so I just took it off the table today. I figured now I can pull back into the zone. We'll evaluate everything once it pulls back, and could just buy back into it again. And maybe I've missed the last little push all the way up to this pink line, or over here on the left hand side up to the green target dots. But I was happy with my gain there, and I just took it. So that's something I need to get better at personally, but everybody's game and trading is different. So, and then the transports, I actually been into these since a few days ago because it was just all bunched up down here, and we're a little bit up, but that's sort of following the Dow at this point, which is kind of what you want. So they've got some room to move up while the Nasdaq can just walk sideways or even pull back a bit, and the Russell can catch up to it as well. So that's this story with the markets as far as I can tell. The uh, bonds here, TLT, I actually bought in with a little bit of a half position today. I'm not sure about this one, so I'm not really going to get behind it until I start getting a little bit more things going in the right direction. But what I really want is if we get a pullback in the rest of the markets, maybe the bonds will go up. So I wanted to be positioned for that a little bit. So it's a little bit of a hedge. So just to give you some ideas. So and then oil here. Oil is green on the daily indicator. We got a buy signal on the weekly indicators. However, this thing is coming from way under, and I already have this recent head and shoulders pattern that's violated. That's not to say it couldn't turn back and go beyond that, down below all this again, but I'm not willing to jump in yet. So that's just me. If you're an more aggressive trader than me, you could get in here and then just make sure you get out if things really go the other direction. But so far, yeah, I've got a bearish really indication. I got a lot of back and forth signals, I guess is the point here. So let's flip over and see what's going on under the hood. Bullish percent indexes, and let's look at the industrials. No change. The NYA up 5%. If you follow this for very long, you realize that 5% moves are not a giant deal, but they're not a small deal either. The transports tacked on 2 green X's today, so the transports are almost on a point and figure buy signal, and that's up by 10%. The Nasdaq up 3.62% and on a column of X's right now. The S&P, the SPX, actually flipped over to a new column of X's, up by 1.97%, but the big news is that it flipped over to a new column of X's. So that's poised for higher prices going forward for a bit. And then the OEX, this is going to be contrarian a little bit because the OEX didn't move, and I think the NDX actually moved down. So yeah, down 3.17%. So we could get some weakness in the NDX and the OEX while the other ones start to move up, and that's really the Nasdaq and the S&P 100 taking a pause, while the rest of the S&P 500 and the rest of the Nasdaq maybe catches up. So, which is actually probably good news because there's only a few stocks that have been moving this market. It's they used to call them the FANG stocks: Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google, and I think there's another one in there too. But now, it's those types of stocks that have been moving the market. Those are the ones that need to pause, and the rest of the market, maybe if it starts to really catch up, then that's better really for the markets and the economy. But we just need to stay on our toes and make sure we're following the signals, because at the end of the day, these things don't move unless they have momentum behind them. And then the automatic trading systems, they cooperated better today. So here is the Dow. That's the YM contract. You got an up move today. You got a lot of ground to gain here to get back up to our green dots, which is the equity peaks. So this is the results of trading. This isn't an actual like bar chart. This is the results after our trades go. That's the back and forth, and that creates what's our equity doing. So yes, in our case, with the amount of contracts we have, we went from a positive 18,000 thereabouts to where we're only at a positive 8,000 now for this this quarter, because this is the quarterly contract. So that's a tough move to take. But this is what it looks like on a 6-month basis. We got an uptrending from left to right equity curve. Our equity is going up in the YM. And then we go over to the Russell, and the Russell was really hard to take through this down period that's in this box right here. That up move right here was a great move, and now we got a nice up move again, and an actual little bit of a pullback there. So that looks an awful lot like this, and then hopefully we can get another takeoff here from here. And on a 6-month basis, it doesn't look a lot different, but on a year-long basis, it's this again basically. So although it's got some rough pullbacks in it, what we're looking for is these nice peaks and going into higher equity. And then the one that's still my favorite, it's the NASDAQ. Still has pretty rough pullbacks that look like this, but here late, I mean, this was a tough pullback to take, but here of late, that's taken off. We got nice new green dots. Our equity is having new equity peaks, and that's what it looks like on a 6-month basis. So that's what I got for you guys. Hope everybody else is doing okay. Take care, good trading, and have a great night.